Welcome to the Trivium Talk Podcast. This is where we talk about things inside and outside of the gym. We'll use that.
There you go.
It'll be that simple.
Yeah.
So starting us off, right? It's the first week in January. We're already to January 8th. We're 8 days in. For a lot of people, new year, new you. You're setting New Year's resolutions. You're trying to set all these big lofty goals. And, that can look like different things for a lot of different people. And so, just want to talk about that. This being the new year. I think CrossFit gyms are a little bit different than what you might see in a global gym. Like, we don't have a massive rush of people clamoring to spend $200 on a membership. We typically see some stuff like leading up to it. And then inside of the gym with our members and those that are coming on new, and we see a lot of goal setting and things like that. So a little bit different of an environment at a CrossFit gym, in my opinion. We'd love to get your take on that, and then just sort of, open up the conversation for a new year and what we see.
Yeah. So when you're outside of the gym and it's the holiday season and people find out that you coach at a gym or you manage a gym, and they're always first things like, oh, you're ready for the big rush at the beginning of the year. And it's like, our kind of rush is just kind of different. We actually see more influxes around when the school year starts because kids are going back to school, parents have more free time. During the holiday season, we actually don't see as big of an influx because more responsibilities are on there. So it's kind of, I think it's different for every gym, obviously. Also different for, I would say us in particular. We don't run any kind of specific like new year, try our gym for $5 and see what happens. We want to keep our value. But we do try new things. So one thing that we're trying this year, or what we've kind of expanded on with our program, is doing this hybrid class, right? And so one thing that we struggled with last year, just being transparent, is how to onboard new people and how to get them like injected into our community as quickly as possible. And we've tried different things. I think we've done well in some, but I think this kind of gives us an opportunity to get people into classes sooner without going through all the tropes of like CrossFit's dangerous. Why are they doing Olympic lifting? And then they've only been here for 3 weeks. And it's like, hey, some of that is valid. But some of that too is just like, hey, we can lower that barrier of entry while still giving them good workouts and then kind of learning. So the big thing that we're doing this year to try to help is that hybrid class that we're running. And I'm excited about it. We kind of started this week. I think from a programming standpoint, I've kind of missed the mark a little bit. Today was supposed to be an active recovery day. And my wife, Nicole, came home. She's like, that was not active recovery. So that's one thing. Because our goal right now is to keep members on. And we always talk about, hey, what's the 90-day process with that? And Nate, you've kind of explained to me why 90 days is important. So why do we pick that as our goal?
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons, right? One is the habit forming. When someone sets a goal, when someone decides they're going to come to the gym, whatever that may be, it may be fitness related, it may not be, but you got to build the habit, right? And there's studies done on this, but essentially there's a time frame in which a habit can be formed. And, it's anywhere from that 21-day mark all the way up through a couple of months, right? The other data point that we pull on our side is we typically see with CrossFit and CrossFit Trivium in particular, is if somebody stays consistent with us for 90 days, their first 3 months, they will stick for at least a year and a half.
Yeah. What do you mean by consistent though?
Yeah. So 3 times a week.
Okay.
2 to 3 times a week, where we're not seeing gaps of 2 weeks where somebody doesn't show up and then they come for 3 days in a row and then they don't come again for 2 or 3 weeks. And then they it's just that up and down. So consistently showing up is the biggest thing. It's literally just walking through the door. It's not how hard did you work out? It's not any of the things that actually happen inside that keep them there. It's, I made it a point to build the discipline and habit of walking through that door. And then we take care of the rest. Right. So the 90-day mark is a combination of those two things. It's us helping them build that habit, which is truly, a personal thing. There's a lot of things that can play into that. People's schedules, people's commute, all of that stuff. Does it fit? Does it work? Does it, all of that with life? And then it's just, I don't feel like it today. I'm going to go walk through those doors. I'm going to trust that the coaches there and the people there are going to get me through this workout in a way that's right for me today.
I think that's it, right? very rarely when we do like an exit meeting with a member, it's not because it's like, oh, well, the workouts were too hard or I couldn't do this. It's mainly because for us, it's just we're a transplant city. So people are getting new jobs and traveling even just to the other side of town. That just becomes now a 45-minute drive. And so that's expected. What we really want to make sure that we're doing is that the experience is great, because the consistency is where you're going to see the results. If you can just chip away at it daily or even just every other day, that's better than trying to do these big chunks. And I think a lot of new members are like, I'm here and I'm going to hit this 6 days a week.
Right.
And I'm just going to get as hard as I could, either because I'm an ex-athlete or when I was in high school, I used to lift this much. I want to lift this much now. And they end up burning out. And so because they're either too sore or they're thinking, well, dang, I'm just not as good as I used to be. So we're kind of burned out. And we try to really harness that a lot, or pull back on that as much as possible with the new athletes, and let them say, or we just say, hey, just trust your coach and be okay with, I always say, like, one gear less than what you think you should be doing. And start with that for a month, and then we can start to sprinkle in more higher intensity.
So you bring up a really interesting point, and I want to hit on that because it ties into the next topic that we're going to talk about, right? And it's goal setting. And so when setting a goal, we're in the new year. So everybody is setting these goals or resolutions or whatever they are, right? And I see common mistakes in some of these goal settings that causes failure, right? And I'm interested to hear what you think about it, what you see. You know, one of the things that I see is goals that are extremely broad and you can't really define the success, or you haven't defined what success means for that goal. And so let me explain what I mean by that. All right, somebody comes in and I said, hey, what's your goal? What's your goal for joining CrossFit? Oh, I want to get in shape and lose weight. Okay. What does in shape mean to you?
Right. We're talking about tangible, right?
And so, or I want to lose weight. Okay. What does that mean? How does that, and then walking them through those things. So they set these broad goals and then they don't set a system in place to measure those things. Right. And so, you have no way to truly define that success. And then you get 6 weeks in and you step on the scale and you go, I'm 2 pounds lighter. I worked out 5 days a week. I don't understand this. Screw it. I'm out. Right. Well, what they don't realize is they've put on more muscle. They've done they've done all these things. Right. So setting goals, I think, especially for new people, is setting attainable and measurable goals is a really important thing that people miss. So when someone says, hey, I want to get in shape and I want to lose weight, a good goal for that, for me, would be say, all right, so your goal is then show up to the gym 3 times a week. Let's revisit that in 6 weeks and say, did you meet that goal? Because how can you possibly attain that other one if you're not willing to even walk through the door 3 times a week? And then those are stepping stone goals into those other pieces. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I like that better, because where my head is like, well, let's go ahead and just make those measurable. When you say, I want to lose weight, how much weight do you want to lose? It's like, most people don't even know that either. So if you do that, that could even be discouraging as well, by saying like, well, how much weight do you want to lose? How much muscle do you want to gain? Some people, I don't know, 10 pounds. And it's like, do you know what 10 pounds less would look like?
Exactly.
And it's like,
and then they say 15 pounds and you're like, great, that's going to take 3 months. And all of a sudden the wind just goes out of your
even if you don't even say how long it's going to take, it's like, well, why'd you pick 15? It's like, I don't know, it just felt right. It's like, okay, then let's build out a roadmap. And I think that's what you're doing right there. Building out a roadmap. The stuff we talk about is always, specific, measurable, obtainable, or achievable, relevant. And then there's your SMART goals that you're looking for. And so when we do get specific, I look at more of just what is tangible. So that way we can go back and look, did we achieve it? If you just say, well, I lost weight, it's like, okay, just don't drink water tomorrow and you'll lose weight. Is that what you're looking for? It's like, no. So we actually got to think about, what are you actually looking for to do? And I think developing those habits and feeling better, it's like, okay, well, all this stuff will help you feel better if you start doing this. Come 3 times a week. Let's make sure that we're moving well. That way you can move with intensity. Then you can go from there. So from a goal setting standpoint, I think it's different for everyone. And the hard thing for me is like, going from, okay, you say you want this, but I think you actually need this, right? And so, but if you say, well, I do know in the back of my head, if they lose 15 pounds, they're going to feel awesome. If I tell them that's going to be a 4-month runway, maybe they're not ready for it. Maybe they are. Cool. So I still need to give them success stories within their realm. So it's like, well, I want to be able to get a pull up. It's like, that's awesome. It's like, I'm worried about your cardiovascular health. It's like,
Mm.
while we work on that, we can still develop the strength to get a pull up as well. So you're hitting those goals. So you get those little wins while we're working in the back, trying to get everything else too.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the goals or one of the broad things that as a coach, you should be looking at too. It's like, yes, you want them to feel good about the things that they're doing in there, but it's also kind of on you to help guide them because we're supposed to be the expert here, right? We're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then even when you get into those, like, again, just bringing it back a little bit on the goal setting, somebody wants to lose 10 pounds.
Mhm.
That is a great goal. And a lot of people are going to say, I need to lose 10 pounds,
Mm.
right? There's so many things to consider with that. And a lot of people think, I'll just join a gym,
yeah,
right? And we who are kind of in it a whole lot, we know there's a lot more to it, right? There's your nutrition. There's showing up to the gym. There's your sleep and recovery. There's your water intake. There's all of these things, right? That if you follow them, you're going to lose weight and you can expect to lose a half a pound to a pound a week. And if you're consistent in all those things will happen, right? But the everyday person that walks through the door isn't at that point where they can take that on.
Sure.
And so it's super important for us. One of the things that I do when I'm first talking to someone and they come in and say, hey, I want to lose weight and get in shape. It's like, all right, that's great. Tell me about your day. What does your day look like?
Right.
And then come to find out, it's like, well, they work 10-hour shifts. They have 2 kids.
Mm.
They're a single mom, or, their husband works nights, or I learn all of these things about them. Whereas if I didn't know that, and then I was like, all right, that's great. Hey, you need to talk to Maddie for nutrition. You need to be coming 5 days a week. You need to be drinking water. You overwhelm them immediately.
Right.
Then the goal becomes unattainable.
Right.
And so when we start to learn, people's lives, where do you live? How long does it take you to get to the gym? That's a big question. Somebody joins and it turns out it's 30 minutes in traffic to get here. And they didn't think it would be because of the time of day.
Sure.
They're going to quit. Right. But if we talk about those things ahead of time, then we can pull it back and say, okay, listen, I know you want to lose weight. I know you want to do these things. I also know that you've got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work this shift. And the class that's going to work for you is this. Do you think you can commit to showing up 3 times a week? Let's set that goal.
And there's your goal.
And there's your measurable goal. Right. And then we get into the things that you were just talking about, which is getting into those other pieces. Right. And again, I'm so big on just showing up, walking through the door.
Right.
Because I know I struggle with that. When I sit here in my office and I sit in my chair for 10 hours and I've had a day and it's like, my job is to talk to people all day long. And it's like, all right, I gotta walk across and go. I got to go ride the assault bike and murder myself. It's like, sometimes my brain is just like, I don't want to go do that. And I've got to just be like, as the owner of the gym, I'm still just like, go walk through that door. And every single time, I have never once regretted walking through the door.
Yeah, I agree.
And going in and going to class. So just from a goal and habit standpoint, from, if you're looking to do something new, just walk through the door and make that be your win. Once you do that, now it's second nature. What's your next win?
Right.
What's your next win?
Right.
Now the wins seem easier because you set something that was super attainable, right? And doesn't mean it's not hard. Walking through the door is still hard, but it's attainable.
Right. Kind of getting into the specifics of it, when you're talking about onboarding a new athlete, it's the same thing when I'm onboarding, like from a programming standpoint.
Yeah.
People are like, hey, I want to do some extra work. And it's like, okay, the first question I'm going to ask is, how much time do you have to commit to this? Because if you want, like, I want to get ready for a marathon. It's like, cool. Okay. Realistically, how many days a week do you train and do you want to train? Because you're like, well, I can train every day. I'm like, you don't want to train every day though. So let's be honest here. And then it's like, okay, within those days that you can train, how much time do you have to commit in those days? Well, I can do 45 minutes on this day on a lunch break. I can do an hour here. And actually my Sundays, I have like 2 hours where I can do it. Okay. Now from there, we can start to build out a plan for it. And it's like, hey, now that we know that this is what's achievable, is that you can train here, I can start to program that's within that guideline of it. And you do the same thing with a member that walks into the gym of just like, hey, we have unlimited, you can be here all day long if you want to, but what's realistic? And then let's start to build from there and get the momentum. And then it's habit building, right?
And for some people, 5 days a week is realistic.
You're right.
But you don't know that, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just, that's what we're talking about, is setting realistic goals. We've got to get to know you. we've got to, that's part of our
Mm-hmm.
job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is not just to be like, hey, buy this membership.
Right.
That's not our job.
You're setting them up
You can do
for
that anywhere.
what's most important, right? That good service anywhere isn't trying to sell you something. It's just trying to give you the right information to make the right choice that's
Right.
best for whatever you're doing.
Yep.
And we're the same way too. And I hope that's why people believe in us so much, is because we're not just trying to sell the most high ticket item that we have out there. We are just trying to let you know that, hey, this is a good fit, or this isn't a good fit, or, okay, you really want to make this work. How do we make this work for you, and go from there?
So goal setting, that kind of leads into the next thing, because some people do set goals around this. The CrossFit Open is coming up. It's the start of the year. It's the big CrossFit
It's on
kickoff.
us.
It is a global fitness test. It's not like a local competition. There is a competitive side to it,
Sure.
but there's also just kind of that fitness test side to it. I know when I first started CrossFit, I would set yearly goals of like, hey, I want to be in the top 2,000 or whatever. But now, and the way my life is right now, it's I just want to do the Open.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of it. So I kind of want to talk a little bit like, what, for those people that have never done the CrossFit Open, and when we say, hey, we've started a new cycle, it's our first cycle, our first 8-week cycle of 2026, and it's geared and built to take you right up to the Open and be prepared to do the Open. What's the Open?
Right. So let's unpack it. Let's go with the Open first. In our world, the CrossFit space, right? This is a way to kind of, I think it starts more as a huge community event, even though it is part of the competitive season, where athletes can sign up for the Open, which we'll kind of get into details there. And you do the workouts that are released, and then they can take the top athletes in those workouts and then send them into the next phase of this competition, which is called quarterfinals now. And then from that group of athletes, the people who do even better, they go to an in-person event, because the first two are all done within the gym. But what the Open is, it's generally the last weekend in February is kind of when things get started. CrossFit HQ, they have a designer who's Dave Castro, writes the workouts, and they get released on the internet and to all the CrossFit gyms. They get released on Thursday, and it's one workout a week. And we kind of come together as a community, and we do that workout. And if you do it officially, you can sign up online, you pay your $20 or $25, and you can submit your score. And for most of us, that's where it kind of stops. We submit our score, and we can now have this big data sheet of the 100,000 people that are doing this, and see how you stack up from people in your region, people that are your gender, people that are like, they even break it down to, I'm a teacher, I can see how I do against all the other teachers. And which is great. But if you're someone like Nate, who's really data driven, he can go back and look at past Open workouts, because they keep all of it. And you can go look for 10 years ago. Well, I was what's worse, the 25th percentile. And now I'm the 70th percentile. That's a huge increase in your fitness. And it's a good marker of just seeing if you're making progress year over year, or as we get older, can we maintain as best as possible throughout too. And then it's just fun, because you don't know, you don't know what's going to be released. And so from a gym standpoint and programming standpoint, we're trying our best to either predict or prepare for what's about to come down, so that our athletes just feel, our athletes being our members, are like confident going into it, and like, yes, like we've been practicing this and I'm ready to go for it. And so from the programming standpoint, that's what we're looking at. When we talk about, well, this is our Open prep cycle, we are doing things based off of history. So we know there's 6 movements that are typically going to be in the
No matter
Open.
what,
We will
just
see
about
them.
every time.
Specifically, we're seeing things like double unders, toes to bar, burpees, and thrusters. And so it's like, hey, if I want to just significantly increase my score in the Open, what should I do? Those 4 movements. And so we're going to put that into our programming, where you can kind of systematically get a little bit better, and at least know what you're getting into. Oh, well, if I see 50 toes to bar, I'm going to do 1 at a time,
Yeah.
because that's where I'm at. Or some people are like, well, I know I can do 10s, but you don't know that until you get kind of dosed with it prior to. So what else are we missing on that? Oh, so you do week 1. Cool. You submit your score. You can find out on Monday, how'd you do? And then the next Thursday, which would be March 5th, they release another workout. You do that one, same thing. And then you get one more on March 12th. You do that. Typically, we do it on Saturdays because it's fun. We just kind of hang out that morning and then hang out that afternoon once we're done. And then by the end of the 3 weeks, you kind of see what your average score is, and that gives you a ranking for the year. And then you just take it from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, on one hand, there's a competitive side to it
Sure.
for those people that want to attack it that way. But on the other hand, like I would encourage people to use it just as a yearly benchmark, right? So it's a data point that can be measured against hundreds of thousands of people, right? And then against yourself year over year over year, right? And it's really the only thing that I can think of that exists that allows you to do that
Right.
on a global scale.
Right.
Because you're talking about, again, you're talking about affiliates and non-affiliates, people all over the world doing this workout, this one thing, the same exact way, with the same exact standard, with the same exact time, that all of those things that you then get to see where that sits. And I think that data point is incredibly important. So when we talk about reasons why to do the open, I think that's one of the number one reasons is we set goals. Goals need to be measurable. This is a measurable data point.
Right.
Right.
And like if you're brand new to it, if you just joined the gym, this is actually just the best time to get it's like weighing in for the first time. It's
Yeah.
like you have a true test of where you're at in your fitness journey. And then you can always go back to it and see how you've improved from it. The cool thing also about the open is that they have a prescribed way of doing it, but then they have different levels to it as well. The levels can be based off of your ability. So you have like scaled and beginner, but you also have things are different based off of gender. So male or females, different weights or different calories. Then you have based off of age as well. If you're 60 and up, your workout's going to look a little bit different, kind of based off of what we think 60-year-old people should be doing. It goes all the way down to 35. So you're not just doing what the 22-year-old freak of natures are doing.
Yeah.
You're doing what's appropriate, and then you can compare yourself to other people that are in your category as well. So I think it's super cool that way.
Yeah.
Or you can just choose to do it as it's written as well.
And so Trivium attacks it a little differently,
Mhm.
right? Or maybe not. I don't know. We have a big event and we try to make it a competition feel. I've done a lot of comps. You've obviously done a lot of comps and coached folks. And so giving that an experience when you're in the gym of walking in and being like, hey, you have a lane assignment, you have a judge assigned to you. There's a placard. We've got a DJ, we've got music, we've got food, we've got vendors, we've got all these things going on. And we all get together and the community comes in and we're cheering everybody. It is a super fun and super cool atmosphere. And so, I would encourage anybody, number one, do the open. Number two, get the data point, pay the $20. If you're a member at Trivium and you don't want to pay the $20, I'll pay your $20. Get your data point. I feel that strongly that it's that important for you to do that. Register, pay the $20. If you can't pay, if you don't want to pay, I want you to have that data point. I will cover your $20. The other thing is show up to the Saturday Throwdown. It's a freaking blast. We'll do some things where we bring in some members that have been doing it for a while. And it's one thing for us to say it. We're a little biased because we put it on, but it's fun.
There's two ways of looking at it because a lot of people think about, we want it to feel like it's something special. This isn't just another workout.
Yeah.
This is, but that can also kind of push people away too. They're like, oh, scary. People are going to be, we have judges that people are judging me. And it's like, it's not that way. You have supporters that are essentially counting your reps and just making sure that you don't get lost in this workout, because sometimes they can either be complex or you're just so dialed in that you just forget. And so we have people there to help make sure that you're doing everything correctly, because there is going to be variance, right? We can't dictate what other gyms do and what other people do. And when they submit their score, you have no idea except for the top people that have to film it. But we want to make sure that we're hitting the standards, again, not for how you rank on the leaderboard, but for when you do this next year, you do have the validity of knowing that I did this workout correctly. So if this workout gets repeated, which is common, then you know that you can actually compare apples to apples. So, but beyond that, as we get older, I think there's just less and less opportunity to do things that make us uncomfortable. We become very efficient in our day as far as like, I wake up, I do this, I go to work, I do this, I go home. I just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. And then something comes out like this where it's like, ooh, that's different. I don't know if I'm there. And it's like, Nate, you've said it so many times. It's practicing a new skill. Being able to put yourself out there in a like vulnerable position, because like everyone's going to see you work out, and you can just go to a class and like, the coach is going to be helping you out, but like no one's watching you, because that's what we say. It's like, well, here it's like, what's going to happen? And then you find out the people that do it for the first time, it's like, it's one of the best experiences they've ever had. It's like, oh, so many people were cheering for me. It's like, what'd you expect? Right. And it's like, we're so ingrained that I think from a social media standpoint, that people are only want to make you feel bad. That it's like, oh, wait, in real life, people are actually very kind and want to see you succeed.
Yeah, when you think about, right, there's a lot of arguments against doing the CrossFit Open,
Mhm.
right? And if you follow the sport, if you follow CrossFit at all, there's tons out there, right? People arguing why you shouldn't do it, why you should do it. I'm a big proponent of doing it. Obviously, I've said that. But when you get into reasons not to do it, right? What's
Mhm.
the excuse? What's the reason? That's a big one. Is I don't want someone watching me. I'm going to feel judged. I'm not good at these movements. And so when I walk out there and I have to do box step ups because I'm terrified to jump on that box, or I don't have double unders, so I have to do single unders,
Right.
I feel like these better people at CrossFit are judging me. And what you will find, you can take my word for it, or you can show up and experience it for yourself. It's the exact opposite, is that we are more impressed in our community and our coaches and truly the good athletes, the quote good athletes,
Mhm.
are more impressed by the person that struggles with a movement, walks out, does the workout and completes it,
Right.
than they are with the person that comes out and is and doing
Right.
all those things.
Mhm.
And the cheers are louder and the support is greater. And the moment that I see the pride on the people that, hey, I did it, right?
Right.
Somebody that does a marathon for the first time, they're not breaking land speed records,
Yeah.
but they completed it. And showing up and completing that workout is something that's hard,
Mhm.
and it's something you can be proud of. And then you get the data points and all of
Right.
those things along with it.
That's
So I think that's a great, argument against it of like, I'm going to be judged. No, you're not.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. You
Yeah,
talk about judgment-free zones. Like,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
good point. Like, very few people sign up for a 5K and like, I'm gonna win.
right.
It's like, why are you signing up for the 5K? It's like, because you want to do something
Because it's
challenging.
hard.
And you're doing it with a community that's also doing it. And no one's gonna see you cross the line and be like, ha ha,
Right.
loser.
An
'Cause
hour? You're kidding me, right?
Yeah, it's like, no, that's not what happens, but maybe we think that's what's gonna happen when we do something like this. And so that's what we really try to harp on, is just like, it is no different than signing up for a 5K, except you're doing it with the people that you've been doing workouts with for either the first month of your training or you've been here for 5
Yeah.
years. I'd love to kind of get into like, what are some tips? Like, how can we get people prepared a little better on their own on that?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me, just take
Let's
the wheel
go.
on it. So first and foremost, when we talk about the programming cycle, one of the big things that we push on our coaches is that we want our athletes trying to practice the movements that are there. And so things like double unders and toes to bar are something like people will typically just scale back into single unders or hanging knee raises. It's like, hey, we've got to actually start introducing the movement, even if we're not good at it. Because when the open comes, most people are just going to elect to do it. And they're like, dang, I should have been practicing this from the beginning. And so one thing that we always want to prepare for in this cycle is try the movement. And it's on the coaches and yourself and everyone involved to make sure that we're still dosing it correctly. Like, hey, what I said with our athletes with the toes to bar we had earlier this week, it's like, hey, I want you to start with 3 toes to bar and then go to hanging knee raises the rest of the way instead of just doing hanging knee raises. Same thing with something like pull-ups. I can't do very many. Okay, don't do very many, but let's do some, and then let's go to ring rows after.
Yeah.
Hey, the wall ball is heavy today. Okay, so instead of 20 wall balls, let's do 10. And so you're at least getting some dosage there. That way, because we are valuing the movement over the intensity at this moment. Later on in the year, sometimes we want you to get the volume in. Hey, I want you to get 20 wall balls unbroken because I want to build that endurance. So I want you to go with a lighter weight that you can go with there. So that'd be probably my first tip for doing this. We got 8 weeks to work through it. Start practicing those movements. The other thing that I really want to work on is what's the like free things we can work on.
Yeah.
People want to be like, oh, I need to get new shoes. I need to buy the perfect jump rope. And it's like, are you sleeping? Are you drinking water? And it's like,
Right.
let's try to dial that in. It's a new year. Let's build new habits. That's great. What's realistic for your sleep goals? What's realistic for your hydration goals? And then let's start to build on that. And so if we aren't doing that, then I'm not really worried about how much red light therapy are you getting today. It's like, it's great, but this is a better bang for your buck too.
Yep.
What else? What do you think is good?
So you talked about, And those tie back into the cycle, right? Practice, allowing yourself to practice. Don't go into a workout and think, well, this is going to affect my score for the day.
Yes.
Great.
That's it.
But you're never going to progress in that thing. So throw the score thing out the window. There's days for that, and there's days for not doing that. I think, again, we already talked about it, but like the consistency and all of that stuff.
Right.
One of the other things I think about is the types of workouts, the time domains and the intensity levels that we do. And we know, a lot of times we're going to see shorter workouts in the open. Sometimes there'll be like one long one, like you'll see a 20-minute AMRAP or something like that. But a lot of times they're very intense. They're shorter, 7 to 12 minutes, those types of workouts. And so what I've seen in the programming is we're prioritizing those types of things. So talk about how people approach those in class as we lead up to it.
Yeah. So from when I think about it from a competitive standpoint, and I think everyone, if you sign up, you are competing. So I want to set you up to be the best competitor possible. But one of the most common faults in the open is that everyone comes out too hot. We see the workout, deadlifts and rowing and so it's deadlift, rowing, and double unders, right? And that's what happened. Maybe that was last year or 2 years
I'm
ago.
going unbroken.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like, I can do this. And so your first round, you finish a round in a minute and a half. You're like, okay, at that pace, you're on pace to do 20 rounds. And it's like, you're not getting 20 rounds. So we've got to learn how to dial it back. And so what I've done this week, which I really enjoyed, is we had that Tabata style workout on Tuesday where it's like, hey, you're going to do 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and then you're going to go back and do the same movement, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and then rotate. And so within that gap, you're like, oh, 20 seconds, that's not long. It's like, oh, deadlifting for 20 seconds nonstop, that's a lot. Okay, first realization, I need to break this up. Okay, great, you've learned something here. And so you see some people start with sets of 5, but then they come back around the next round to it and they're like, shoot, I don't think, okay, now it's 3s. And then by the third round, they're like, I wonder if I can just get the same amount just doing singles. And so then you start to see, well, I did 9 with doing sets of 3. I did 10 doing singles, and it didn't feel as bad. Okay, now I've just learned that I'm just going to do singles if I have to do high volume. It's like, cool, that's what I wanted you to learn in that. Same with something like handstand push-ups or rowing. So I try to actually start this cycle with a little bit longer to kind of force you into burning out or if knowing thyself. And then now that you have the game plan, we can start to work it back to that specific time domain of like 8 to 14 minutes that we see.
And so you talked about it earlier. It's like, what do we want to get out of these workouts? Practice, right? That was one of the points you made. And so this is part of that practice is pacing. You have to practice pacing.
Yes.
And I'm laughing because the first workout of the first cycle for open prep, we talked about it the other day. I finished the first round in 1 minute. And there's only 4 more rounds left.
We have 4 to go.
And I had a very quick realization that I was not finishing this workout in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And by round 3, I was fighting for my life, had to stop it. I mean, it was when you talk about crash and burn finish, it was a crash and burn. I mean, I was 3 minutes behind the whole class. It was like, okay, I do believe I learned something there.
It's one of my favorites when, I'll go home to Nicole and I'll just say like, oh yeah, I finished the first round in 1 minute. And then it took me 9 minutes to finish the rest of the workout. And there's 4 more rounds. Like, that math doesn't math up, And so some of it, you want to experiment. And other of it's like, okay, next time you just got to learn that. And that's the thing.
That's why afterwards I was looking at it, I was like, dang, if I'd have just done every round in a minute 45, I would have been 9 minutes or whatever, right? Instead of almost 12.
Right.
And right about kind of where I probably should have been for my fitness level. But instead,
So Nate, you're telling me.
I just put my foot on the gas.
So you're telling me if I go slower, I'll do better? That's crazy. And again, when I'm coaching classes, it's like my goal, I try to equate it to running. Like, guys, I want you to feel like you are running a 5K because most people can kind of wrap their head around this. And it's like, okay, that's the challenge of CrossFit is that we're trying to move aerobically. That's not with things like thrusters and wobbles. So we're all over the place, but I need it to feel like we're running at this pace. Okay, so what does that look like? Okay, if I can get you there where you're pushing at the end instead of surviving at the end, then we've probably hit the right pace on it. Rarely do we hit that though. But that's what separates, if we went into the competitive side of it, that's what separates us, which I would call us Gen Pop, from elites who are systematically breaking down every movement. How long does it take? How much rest do I take here to hit it at
Yep.
this, to do 10 rounds? Because I know a top score will be 9.5. So I need to get to 10. Okay, now we work it back and go from there. So we can dive into that. And people like us, I like to do that too. It's like, all right, I want to try to hit 10 rounds today. Okay, so I need to finish a round every 2 minutes. So if I finish the first round in 1 minute, I messed up. So I need to figure out how
There's
to
a
slow
problem.
down and go from there. So yeah.
Good stuff, man. All right. Well, listen, we gotta wrap it up. So just give us a quick 30-second wrap up. We've talked about some goal setting, some new year and some CrossFit Open and stuff, but give us a quick wrap up and then yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah. So I hope you guys found this entertaining at the very least, or at least informative on it. I appreciate you guys listening. We talked about a lot today. We talked about goal setting. We talked about starting the new year, whether you're just joining any gym or joining a CrossFit gym, what to look out for. And a lot of that is just setting up attainable goals that you can consistently hit over and over and over again and build those habits. And if you're doing the open, which we all recommend that you do, whether you like the workouts or not, we are doing this as a measurement of your health and wellness. We're not doing this to see if you're the fittest person on earth. Only 5 people are actually doing that. We think it's a great way to get involved with the community. We think it's a great way of keeping up with your health and wellness over a long period of time, which is what we're here for. We're not coming to the gym just to show off that day. We're doing this so that we can stay out of the retirement home for as long as possible. And this is a great way of having tangible data to work through that.
All right, man. Let's do this again next week.
Cheers.
See you in the gym.
Talk it out, let it clash. Trivium Talk